The incredible deals continue today with part 2 of our summer sale coverage. Thank you all once again for dropping by to check them out, and if this is your first time here, make sure to check out part 1 for even more great deals. I'll have it linked down below. And of course, stay tuned in the coming days for part 3. As for the crew, welcome back everybody. I hope you're enjoying the weekend, and I don't know about you, but I'm ready for even more deals. Thanks as always for hanging out. Let's go ahead and dive in. Stay safe everyone, hit that like button, and please enjoy the video. Alright, we'll start with Lost Ruins, which is a gorgeous pixelated 2D Metroidvania. It has a download around 420 megabytes and offers the player around 5 hours of gameplay, with multiple endings as well, and even includes sort of a new game plus after you complete it. We follow a young heroine on her quest to recover her lost memories as you travel through this mysterious world full of beautiful environments and deadly enemies. The map is easy to navigate and it does have fast travel points to help out a bit, plus the story does a good job of pushing you forward, so getting lost isn't something you'll have to worry about too much. The combat is more methodical though, and you don't want to just rush in and button mash. It's a fun Metroidvania, and right now you can pick it up on sale at a brand new low of just $9.99, bringing it down to half price, and the deal ends on the 25th. Up next we have the Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney Trilogy collection, which is a collection of narrative-driven court drama style games, each broken down into a specific trial, with tons of puns and catchphrases. The writing is top tier with these games, and the interrogation can be a lot of fun due to the random nature of them. The games look great here on the Switch, and you're getting 3 full games at one low price. If you've never played any of them, this is a great value at just $9.99. Right now they're offering a 67% discount, bringing the collection down to a new low, and the deal ends on the 25th, but you'll need a little over 2 gigs for the install. Jack Move is a single-player turn-based RPG where we play as a hacker named Noah, and she has a particular disdain for an evil corporation that's taken over ever since the Dark happened. The Dark was an event that took place long ago where the entire world's technology was shut down by a solar flare, and the game has a really cool top-down presentation with amazing pixel art graphics. It offers a ton of main story and side quests, plus the battle system is pretty unique as well. It's a pretty complex system, and probably the coolest part about it were the special attacks that you can do once you've filled up a power meter during the combat, and with the game being about 7 to 8 hours long, it never really gets too repetitive either. Right now you can pick it up at a new low of just $11.99, marked down 40% until the 25th, and the download is around 1.5 gigs. Next we have Trek to Yomi, which is a single-player narrative adventure title with a download around 4 gigs and a main story that will take roughly 6 hours or so to complete. The unique cinematic presentation makes the game stand out quickly, and luckily the draw doesn't end there. The story is engaging and the combat is a lot of fun, requiring patience and proper timing for attacks and parries. The game does play out as a mostly linear story, but there are some hidden secrets to find for those that are willing to explore just a little bit. And of course there are a few environmental puzzles to deal with, but they're few and far between and never require too much thought to overcome. It's an interesting game, and right now you can pick it up for just $11.99, marked down 40% to a new low, and the deal ends again on the 25th. Ultra Age is a single-player action-adventure title that takes place in the distant future and follows a young warrior named Age as he's sent back to Earth, which is now a dying planet overrun by machines and all different types of wild creatures, and his goal is to save mankind. It has a download around 6 gigs and should take roughly 9 to 10 hours to wrap up the main campaign. However, they did add in some free DLC which gives you a whole separate gameplay mode with hours of additional content. The combat is smooth and enjoyable, and it's a pretty big game with unique different locations and plenty of enemy variety, cool boss battles, and you have different talent trees which you can spec into, and it does add a bit of player choice in as well. If you're interested in Ultra Age, right now you can pick it up at a brand new low of just $11.99, marked down 60%, and the deal ends on the 25th. VAMPYR is one of those games that bit off a bit more than it could chew at launch. It was overpriced and suffered from major frame rate issues. Now at a more reasonable price and after some patches, the game is quite enjoyable, although I still think the loading screens are a bit intrusive. That aside though, you do get a pretty large game here with interesting mechanics, and as you're a vampire, you'll have to feed to survive. The story is pretty cool, and occasionally you'll be presented with different dialogue choices, and that's always a nice touch. Overall, it's a pretty nice port here on the console, and right now you can pick it up for just $9.99, marked down 70% to a new low, and the deal ends again on the 25th. Now, as I mentioned, this is of course a much more reasonable price, but you still need 7.5 gigs for the install, so make sure you have the space. Airoheart is a retro-inspired single-player top-down adventure title that should last nearly 20 hours, and it has a small download under half a gig. Fans of the Super Nintendo classic A Link to the Past, this game is one you'll definitely love. It borrows a ton of mechanics and even items that you would find there, and then throws the player into a much more open world which you can explore right from the start. Now of course there are things that will block certain paths or areas, and you'll need to find a special gadget or spell in order to access them. And overall, it's a great Zelda-like adventure title that you can pick up right now at a brand new low of just $12.99, marked down 68%, and the deal ends on the 25th. Again, you'll need about 450 megabytes for the install. Next, we have Tormented Souls, which is an incredible indie horror title that recreates the feeling of classics like the old Resident Evils, and gives players an updated control scheme to make it a much more approachable game for those that aren't familiar with the older tank style of controls. The story follows a young woman named Caroline as she searches through this huge twisted mansion trying to rescue a couple of missing girls. You'll have to solve puzzles by finding and combining items, manage your inventory, and of course take out some demonic creatures as you work your way through the roughly 10-hour story. If you're a fan of the genre, I highly recommend this one, and right now you can pick it up for just $12.99, marked down 35% to a new low, and the deal ends on the 25th. Just keep in mind that you'll need about 10 gigs for the install if you plan to pick it up. Overlord Escape from NAZARICK is a single-player 2D Metroidvania that follows a female protagonist named Clementine, and the game starts off with her death. After awakening, you set off on an adventure through the tomb of NAZARICK. Now the game is tied to a popular franchise, but if you've never heard of the characters, that's okay. It won't hurt your ability to enjoy the game or follow the story. The controls feel great, the combat is fast and enjoyable, but overall it never gets too overly complicated. With that said, the mechanics are less forgiving though than what you might find in other games in the genre, if that makes any sense. Now of course, as you play through, you'll find upgrades and new abilities, and overall it's a fun platformer that you can pick up on sale at a brand new low of just $14.99, marked down half price, and the deal ends on the 20th. You need about 2.2 gigs for the install. Have a Nice Death is a single-player 2D roguelike that offers an enjoyable and unique story that should take players more than 10 hours to complete, and honestly, you'll likely spend double or triple that at least. It's a tough game and the combat can be pretty intense at times. Of course, as you practice and die over and over, you'll get some permanent upgrades that will make things a little bit easier. Now, each run can be altered a bit with different modifiers at the beginning as well, and as for the gameplay, the controls are tight and responsive. One thing that sort of bothered me were the load times. They are kind of rough here on the Switch, but overall it's a solid game, and right now you can pick it up at a brand new low of just $19.99, marked down 20%, and the deal ends on the 25th. As for the download, you'll need about 1.5 gigs available for the install. Alright everyone, here are a few other deals to check out while you're already on the eShop. Alright folks, if you enjoyed the video, please hit the like button and let me know down below if you plan to pick anything up this weekend. Take care everyone, thanks for watching.